Namaste and welcome to yet another episode of Pratnya series under the title of Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, I have decided to take a slight deviation from the traditional angle of interpretation of the verses and chapters to a context of seeking actionable insights in the lines and verses of Lord Krishna's advice and Lord Krishna's conversation with his disciple Arjun on a battlefield. Battlefield has become a common thing, has become unfortunately a common thing now also as in the olden days, as in the historical context where Gita was composed and compiled, as we know. The context might differ, but the clash is the same. A clash of values then is the same clash of values now in the 21st century, unfortunately, very sadly. The world is undergoing an upheaval of changes. I do not know whether the leaders are aware of the larger consequences, the larger impacts of what they do. If you remember, after the Second World War, a Secretary of State in the United States named John Foster Dulles, he made a statement that in order to prevent future wars, it is better to be prepared for an all-out war now. Preparedness for war is the best security for peace. This is an apparent declaration made by a responsible leader of a government. But the governments and the policy makers from then on in that country and elsewhere took it as Bible word for stockpiling weapons of mass destruction, ready to launch at the touch of a button, either in the Eastern Bloc or in the Western Bloc. What is the result? Total destruction. Total destruction. There is no winners. In a modern warfare, there is no winners, only a few survivors if possible. There are countries where it is compulsory for every place of residence to have an alternate location where the people living in that house or families can escape in times of nuclear disaster. Such shelters are supposed to be kept fully laden with provisions and victuals and water for survival. So, do we need survival in this modern age, or do we need a progressive life? Economic progress, social progress, spiritual progress, essentially. Do we need that, or do we need destruction? Do we need to go back to the savage days from where we all come from? Is that the aim? Or is there a place somewhere in the world? Is there a place where people can depend upon a set of verses or a set of documents which a nation itself calls it gospel, where actionable insights, actionable solutions for practical issues can be sought and found? Fortunately, we have such a gospel with us today, and we have been having it for the last 5,000 plus years in the name of the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is now accepted worldwide as a document of peace, as a document of solutions. It is not a religious document as such, although the main persona, the main figure giving out the gospel advice is considered now as a divine figure, purely because of the pure, pristine quality of his advice and the practicality of those words. Now let's get back to the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. If you look at verse 62 and 63, which we have discussed, which I have discussed, which I have dwelt upon in a few earlier episodes, you will find the cause or the reason for man's downfall. Essentially, it is greed. What is the opposite of greed? Need. Man needs essentials to survive, to succeed in a career or whatever the career be, whatever the cadre be. A soldier who is just enlisted today in an army cannot be expected to become a general tomorrow. He has to go through various established routes of study and training and toil before he can reach upper ranks of authority and execution. So the same is the case with every profession. A student who has just joined for medicine cannot be expected to perform an open heart surgery tomorrow. An engineering student who has enlisted for his classes cannot be expected to build the Eiffel Tower tomorrow. A statesman who has just joined the civil service of a country as a probationary trainee cannot be expected to head a ministry as a secretarial level tomorrow. But unfortunately, the politicians, a cadre of people who are supposed to reach the political leadership through elections or referendums, where the common people have the right to select or elect them to power. They come to positions of importance, they come to positions of pinnacle, and they decide the fate of not only the people of their own country, but the fate of the people of the world at large. If you look at the past events over the past few months, you will find that a clash of religion on the one hand and other forces on the other hand, up against one another in arms, using weapons of mass destruction, threatening death as a solution. Is this the right way to go? Let us examine what the Gita has to provide as a solution. In chapter 2, verses 62 and 63, I would like you to go referring to the Gita in various sources available right with your fingertips, which will tell you that it is greed and ego and selfishness and the greed to expand your horizon, greed to expand your authority and power at any cost, mainly at the cost of violence, mainly at the cost of human lives, to get control over geographical territory. And what does it lead? More destruction, more economic loss, more loss of resources, valuable resources for any country, whoever be the preemptive factor in the conflict. In any country, in any situation, as I said earlier, these days there cannot be expected to be any winners, only survivors, if any. That is the situation that we are all facing. That means the solutions have to come from individual minds. The solutions have to come from individual mindsets. And where are the individual mindsets? In the families, in the schools, in the academic institutions where minds are molded and trained. These are very, very, very important. Where morality can be instructed, not through indoctrination, but through voluntary study, through dialogue. And this is where Indian wisdom has a lead over others. We have never believed in dogma. We have never believed in blind beliefs. Even the rishis or the ancient sages through whom we have been gifted the epics and the scriptures, such as the Vedanta and the Upanishads, and the key concept of Advaita. Advaita means oneness, one only, there is no second. So, this is the main topic of our lecture series videos, where Pratnya is called as the superconscious state, the consciousness that pervades all over the cosmos as one unit. Time and again, I've mentioned that consciousness precedes creation. It has become a scientific fact. I forgot the name of the scientist who in 2020 received the Nobel Prize, considered the topmost prize for inventions or discoveries, who categorically stated with evidence that a consciousness, a universal consciousness, a cosmic consciousness existed preceding creation, that blasted the Big Bang theory, etc., etc. Now, if we accept as our goal the attainment of in tuning with that ultimate consciousness, which is possible according to the Gita through various means, through karma yoga, through jnana yoga, through dhyana yoga, and raja yoga. Very specifically, Krishna gives guidance through these means, the route to attain that superconscious state where there is no scope for avarice, greed, lust, or loath. So, that being the case, is it the duty, or is it the choice, or is it the option, or the alternative for the leaders and tomorrow's leaders and the probationers to leadership in academic or administrative or military cadres to undertake a study of this wonderful book and seek solutions there itself? There are authoritative commentaries based on the Gita. There is no need for a human teacher to intervene to give these instructions to anybody. The book is available in its original Devanagari Sanskrit version, and it is translated to more than a dozen languages worldwide. Anyone listening to this lecture can also try to clear. I will attempt, or at least I will guide you to the right sources to seek the solutions in more detailed explanations if need be. So, that is the understanding based on which actionable insights or actionable solutions can be sought and found in the Gita. And in succeeding episodes, we will go case by case or instance by instance where we could take up solutions for causes that call for immediate and long term solutions. I invite you to join me in further sessions. Until then, goodbye, and may the grace of Krishna be on us. Thank you.